For those of y'all that are just tuning in, we're waiting on Representative Slate and Representative Tinderholt to start their press release here on the north side of the Capitol, so we're going to cover it live. Looks like Jill's going to speak first. They have announced that we are officially in overflow capacity here at the Capitol with all the grassroots patriots that showed up. This is just some of them. More of them are inside the Capitol right now as we speak. All right, that's the 1 minute marker. We'll be starting here in 1 minute. All right, here we go. Representative Brian Harrison.
Yeah, come say a word.
Once again, for those that are just now tuning in, we are at the Texas Capitol on the north side. Representative Tinderholt, Representative Slayton plan on having a press release today concerning the Speaker of the House, Republican Dave Phelan, who is allowing Democrats to hold committee chairs and kill a lot of the bills that we're trying to push. So.
Everybody good? My name is Jennifer Solik. I'm the Communications Director for the Republican Party of Texas. We're going to go ahead and get this press conference started. Our legislative priorities.
Listen up!
Keeping the microphone a little bit lower here for our legislative priorities chair, Joe Glover, who's going to be taking over for this. And my name is Jennifer Solik. I'm the Communications Director for the Republican Party of Texas. If you need anything, please feel free to ask. I will tell you.
We love you, Joe. Good afternoon, members of the press. Texas Republicans, good afternoon. Glover. I'm the chair of the Legislative Priorities Committee for the Republican Party of Texas, and thank you all for coming today. Thank you so much. You know, while conservatives in Washington, D.C. fought for one historic that accountability and transparency to Congress and his cronies, including Democrats and Republicans, silenced dissent with an iron fist, refusing to even allow a vote on Democrats being chairs. The citizens of Texas deserve better than the Austin Uniparty. Upwards of 1,000 Republican voters are here at the Capitol today to make sure their elected officials stay true to their campaign promises and our Republican values. Mr. Speaker, members, these are your constituents. The Republican Party of Texas is not the personal advocacy group of any one individual, and we have always given a voice to grassroots Republican voters, and we will continue to do so. Members, you ignored these constituents at your own peril.
That's right.
I have two statements that I would like to read as well. The first one is from Russ Boyd, president of the Center for Renewing America, former director of the Office of Management and Budget under President Trump, and a man who started his career working for Texas Senator Bill Graham, which makes him an adopted son of Texas. He said on Twitter, quote, "In Texas, conservatives are fighting to prevent Speaker Dave Phelan and a Republican-controlled Texas legislature from appointing Democrat chairmen that will kill conservative priorities. This is why the Texas House is always all hat and no cattle."
Yep.
Secondly, Republican Party of Texas Chairman Matt Rinaldi said, quote, "Yesterday, the Speaker of the Texas House showed utter contempt for Republican voters by refusing to even allow a vote on whether Democrats should be prohibited from holding powerful leadership positions. The fact that not even 10 Republicans would sign on to a challenge this unlawful ruling is incredibly insulting to the 81% of GOP primary voters who supported the ballot resolution reserving leadership positions to Republicans and the GOP delegates who made banning Democrat chairs a top legislative priority of the party."
Yep.
I would like to thank Tony Tinderholt, Brian Slayton,
Yay!
Nate Schlatzline,
Yay!
Mark D'Orazio,
Yay!
Richard Hayes,
Yay!
and Brian Harrison,
Hey!
only members who are willing to force a vote banning Democrat chairs. The Republican Party of Texas will use every tool at its disposal, including Rule 44, to ensure we elect Republicans in the future who won't voluntarily surrender political power to Democrats. From Chairman Matt Rinaldi. Now, I would like to introduce our very first speaker today, Representative Nate Schlatzline.
All right. Hey, first and foremost, can we give it up for every single grassroots conservative that showed up today? There's one person missing from this list that I actually want to bring attention to, and that's Representative Terry Leo Wilson, who's right there, who said that she would love to attempt to sign that as well. Thank you for your stance, Rep. Terry Leo Wilson. How many of you love Representative Terry Leo Wilson? We love you as well. I also want to say this. Look, there are other conservatives that couldn't be here today because they're headed home to see their family. And I'll say this. I almost didn't make it for the very same reason, because we've got family here. But I would also like to say that yesterday was a tough day. It was a tough day for us because we took a vow to our constituents that we were going to fight against Democrat committee chairs. Because the reality is there's no reason that the majority party should be handing power back to people that believe in gender modification for minors, and people who do not believe in parental rights and education, and people who believe in perverse values. And I'm going to tell you this right now, we're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue to fight. And here's the thing, we're going to have to fight wisely. And we're going to have to understand that there are other legislators in that room that have good intentions as well. And we're going to have to work with them. That's the bottom line. I'm not here to bash other legislators today. I'm here to say that you can trust me to take a stand on the issues that count.
Thank you.
Today, I want to let you know that we need to take a stand on banning disgusting, perverse gender modification surgeries in the state of Texas. And until that happens, we cannot be silent. You need to get louder and louder and louder. And I'm going to tell you something. Sugar goes a long way, much further than it does with legislators. And I'm going to tell you, the best method is to call your legislator and ask, will you take a stand on this? How many of you believe that we need to give parental rights back in education? Indoctrination's got to get out of schools. We've got to take a stand and let people know that this is what we're here for. So the next generation is going to be defended in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
Texas is still primed to lead the way. How about you?
Yep.
How many of you are grateful for the overturning of Roe v. Wade in the United States of America?
Yeah.
I'm grateful that that abortion is not happening here in the state of Texas, except through these pills that are coming in through the mail. And we've got to figure out a way in this legislature to ban these pills, these abortion pills that truly are some of the most inhumane things we could ever do. We've got to find a way in order to regulate this, but more importantly, to educate the next generation that there are resources to keep your child. And that's why I'll be filing a bill that is included into an adoption assistance program to bring down the cost of adoption in the state of Texas. And here's what I would like to tell you. That bill is going to take bipartisan support. And I'm here to tell you that that's okay for us to work with people across the aisle when it comes to issues where we can. And on other issues, we're going to go to war, and you have my commitment on that.
Yeah.
And so today, there's a lot of issues we could discuss, but I would like to just implore you once again that today is not about bashing other people. Today is simply about taking a stand. You guys came out today and you exercised your right. And I just want to honor you for a second, because there are millions of Texans who are not here and wish they could be, whether they're working, whether they're taking care of their kids. You guys made a sacrifice today to be here. And there is nothing more special than feeling the weight and the strength of the grassroots behind us. There is nothing greater. We love you. God bless Texas, and God bless the 88th legislative session.
Our next speaker is Representative Richard Hayes.
I want to thank all for coming down here to Austin. I know it's a big time commitment. It's expensive. You're away from your families and your jobs, so thank you very much for doing that. As probably many of you know, my hobby is parliamentary procedure, and I have a different view of things as a parliamentarian than probably you do as individuals. I will tell you that in my humble opinion, Dave Phelan is an excellent speaker. That may not be popular with you, but I'm going to tell you, he is excellent. I voted for him, and I'm going to tell you he's excellent. The other members in the House are excellent. And I'll tell you this, while there were 5 of us that had the ability to sign on, that was kind of fortuitous. I happened to be walking by Slayton, and Slayton had the sheet there to sign on. If I hadn't been on my way to the restroom, I wouldn't have been able to sign the sheet. It was happening so quickly. So I think what we learned from this is that we have to pre-meet the meeting. We need to figure out what is going to happen. What do we want to happen? What do we think other people want to happen? And then come up with contingencies to deal with that. So it was the first big day. We were in the fight. We got outfought. And so I'm going to take some personal responsibility for that. And I think the other members take some personal responsibility for that. I appreciate the opportunity to serve you. And I want to tell you this, there were probably, we would have had about 30 votes to ban Democrat chairs. That's my read of the House. With that said, guys, it would take a majority vote to overturn the decision of the chair. So even if the motion had been made, it would not have prevailed. So, you know, you have a parliamentary ruling, you disagree with the ruling of the chair, you appeal from the decision of the chair.
Make the motion.
I'm not gonna defend everybody else. I'm gonna tell you, I supported it. I was one of the early people on this. I have worked hard for that. It wasn't in the cards. It's our first session. Think how many times it took us to get constitutional carry, or what we did with abortion in the last session. So we're gonna plant a seed. We're gonna make about 8,000 votes. Don't kill people over the first couple of votes, guys. And Nate made a very important point, which is we're going to have to work with people. We need them to support my legislation that I'm going to propose, and I need to support some of the legislation they're going to propose. So we're going to work together. This is a relationship industry. So don't kill people, all
Support
right?
the people.
And I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to be your state representative. Thank you.
Coward.
Thank you, Representative Hayes. Our next speaker is Representative Brian Harrison.
This guy nominated Phelan. Did he second to nominate him? Right? Okay. Why is he talking?
Thank you all.
I don't want to hear
Thank
him.
you. Well, howdy.
Boo!
Yeah, it's the most important thing I'm going to say in this entire, my entire set of remarks, which are going to be brief,
Remorse?
are the next 2 words. Thank you. No, I mean that. There's an infinite number of places or things you could be doing on a beautiful day like today than being here at your nation's capital. This is your building, and every one of us who has a lapel pin on or a title in front of our name
You voted
needs to
Phelan?
never lose sight of the fact that we work for you. The men and women and children of the great state of Texas. And I am so proud to represent so many of you down here in Austin.
You voted Phelan?
Regarding what happened yesterday, guys, there's not a lot good to say about that. It is incredibly unfortunate. There is no excuse
You
for
voted
that.
Phelan, you're right.
It does bring to mind a little bit of a question: is what exactly is the point of fighting for election integrity if elected Republicans are just going to turn around and voluntarily give power back to the Democrats?
How about decriminalizing election fraud? Y'all did that.
It is past time that this body that I am incredibly humbled and honored to be a part of stops giving a shred of power to a political party that they have not earned from the voters.
You voted Phelan.
But the main thing we have to do now, as a movement, as patriots, as believers in freedom, as believers in liberty, as believers in the limits of government placed on it by the constitutions, both federally and state, is we need to move forward. Yesterday is in the past. It's unfortunate.
Fix it now.
And I regret the fact that your voices were not allowed to be heard by your elected representatives on the floor of the House.
That's right. You voted
But that
Phelan.
happened, and what I would respectfully implore you to do at this point is let's focus our energy into professionally, respectfully looking in the forward direction and realizing the battle that we have in front of us, because it is not tongue-in-cheek, it's not trivial, it's not cliche to say that there is nothing less than the future of our entire state and nation on the line. And we have to put all of our energies right now into things that we can control, like doing the job that the federal government has not done, and finally secure the southern border of the United States of America. Texas is the first impacted, we're the most impacted, and we've got to stand up and do the job that Joe Biden has refused to do. We have got to protect our children from these disgusting genital mutilation procedures and finally ban gender modification procedures in the state of Texas.
Why'd you vote
We've got to
Phelan?
put parents back in
you.
control of children's
Come here.
education. We need to respect bodily autonomy
Sorry,
and
I'm having
finally
to deal with the dog.
ban COVID vaccine mandates in the great state of Texas. And we need to empower you over the unelected bureaucrats that make up all the state agencies and governed by executive fiat and executive action. And finally, put the legislature back in charge of all laws and executive orders that come out of the state of Texas. Nothing should bind you that you didn't have a chance to vote on through your elected representatives. And finally, in closing,
Talk to your
I know we got to
caucus.
move on. If I could sum up what I am honored and excited to work with you and my colleagues in this body to work for in one sentence. I want to make government as irrelevant to your life as possible so we can be as free as God meant for us to be. God bless you. God bless Texas. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Representative Harrison. Fantastic. Next, Representative Brian Slayton.
Well, after yesterday, it'd almost be hard to believe there's any Republicans in Texas.
That's right. There's not.
What in the world's going on? How'd y'all get here? Well, I'm honored to have all of my bosses here today.
Oh, man.
I hope I get a good report card.
Thank you. You got it.
Well, yesterday was an interesting day, wasn't it? You know, this building back here is supposed to represent a place where we can have civil discourse, debate, discussion. Ideas can survive and ideas can die. What we saw yesterday is there's one item
that's not allowed to be discussed in your Texas House. And that's a Republican Party legislative priority of making sure the majority party in leadership. That is a no-fly zone in that building. So based on that, do you think your other 7 legislative priorities are welcomed in the Texas House? Oh, but come on. Last session was the most conservative session ever.
And Dan Phelan's the most conservative
so
speaker.
quickly. Well, members, I wasn't going to totally bring all this up. I did want to clarify.
Bring it up.
When I, I'm happy to pull up the idea. I remember talking to Representative Hayes back before he was a representative at a DOA meeting, and I appreciate him coming up saying, I want to sign on to your amendment. I wasn't going to turn that in until he signed it. I do want to also tell you, I was walking down the hall and Representative Shaxline, before we got up to the floor, he was going in the office with a handful of other Freedom Caucus members. I said, hey, I'd love for everybody to sign on to this amendment that wants to. And they said, are you going to let everybody sign on to it? I said, yep, I'm going to let everybody sign on to it. Then I got on the House floor and I said, hey, if you want to sign on to my amendment, I'd love for you to do it. And they said, you're letting other people sign on to it? I said, hell, I'll even let Democrats sign on to it. I wasn't excluding anyone. But the fact is, those that signed it. You know, I talked to the head of the Freedom Caucus to tell them I would love anyone to sign. Of course, even before I got to the floor, I don't know what happened there, but I wanted everyone to sign that. But what we did learn is that we cannot have that debate on the floor, and that is a shame. So there were several things that happened. There were those that signed on, and I'm thankful for those that signed on to that amendment. And those that supported it, but I'm thankful for those that signed on. Then we had the actual amendments we did get a vote on. We had some people that were with us on that. Like people that signed on to the amendment was, I guess, we got Representative Tinderholt, Shaxline, Hayes, Toth, and who else? I might be missing somebody, but I was thankful and Brian Harrison, and I appreciate them signing on. Then when it came time to votes, if you could see what happened on the board, when a Democrat had an amendment, it broke down party line, and we barely won. But whenever certain 2 members filed an amendment and actually got a vote on, it was we got creamed, right? But there were some people who held strong with us. I mentioned earlier, Terry Leo Wilson, she was with us. And don't think she's not in trouble for doing that. There were others that voted with us at times. We had Mark D'Orazio over here. He was with us. And
He voted
Mark
Phelan.
signed the amendment before I'll turn to him as well.
Sit.
Forgive me. And then he voted with us. Actually, I think, I'm not sure, but I think D'Orazio and Terry Wilson voted with us more than any other people. I mean, they really did, and you need to thank them. And then we got Carrie Isaac. She was with us. And I'm looking at a quick list here. We got Briscoe Kane and Carrie Isaac. Matt Schaefer voted with us a lot on those amendments on the floor. You should think those were all different battles, but all equally not allowed, no matter what the fight was. But I just want to say thank you to these members that were with us. I'm trying to go through the list quickly. We got Troxclair. She voted with us. Kane Swanson. And Wilson actually voted with us on one of Tony Tinderholt's, and Cody Vasut did. And if I missed anybody, I'm sorry, but there was a lot going on. It was a wild, crazy day. But in spite of what all took place, I'm just thrilled y'all are here. And I'm here. I'm happy you're here. Happy. Because when you're treated this way, when the Republican voters are treated with so much disrespect, not by the Democrats, but by their very own Republican elected officials. I understand you're hurt. I understand why you feel discouraged. I understand why you feel angry. But stay in the fight, do the right thing, stay on the high ground, and try to convince them to come to our side. The water's fine, right? Yep. And I want to say I appreciate Representative Tinderholt and everything that he's done, the friend he's been. And I'm going to hand it back over to Joe Glover, but thank y'all so much, and y'all stay out of trouble.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Thank you so much, Representative Slayton. And finally, we have
Dog is that?
Cane Corso.
I knew it. How old is he?
6 months.
Oh, really? Is he part boxer?
No, ma'am. He's a Cane Corso.
Oh, I thought they were white.
Oh, no, ma'am. They're usually gray or black with a white
I'm
stripe.
thinking of a different breed then. He's very handsome.
Thank you.